the best. Oh, we're live.
Hey.
And we're overexposed.
Super
grossly.
overexposed.
Grossly overexposed.
It's because it's black in the background.
No, because this is what the YouTube app does. It can't actually expose properly.
No, it can't. No, there's too much black. Watch. See?
No, what did I say? What were you trying to do before we went live with the chair?
Move it forward.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I wonder how that happened. You keep them warm. I'll move this. There you go.
This is
a
Vanessa
perfect
example of Seth and I here. Oh. Hey guys, yeah, pre-roll ad time. Hey Robbie, how you doing? Hey Bryn.
Did I not say where you have to move the chair closer?
Yeah, but you were talking about, and for square law and the shine on the back, you were talking about the overall exposure value. Hey Rebecca, how you doing?
Oh my
God.
So, by the way, we're in a construction area.
Oh, wait, you can just come in.
Sit.
Oh, that's better.
It's better, but I'm going to turn the light down.
Oh, there's a novel idea. I think the exposure is still going to be the same, though. Yeah, because it's exposing for the black. That's better.
Oh, wait a second. You don't think the exposure is going to be the same, though? Would you let me somehow... You're such a pain in the ass.
Can you guys hear us okay? Can you hear his mutterings about what a pain I am? Do let me know if you guys can hear. Seth gets ignored by the exposure within 3 seconds.
We're doing a freaking talk, and we're pro photographers on a photo channel, and we're going to have bad exposure? God.
That's better.
No, it needs to go up.
It does need to go up. Oh, good. They can hear us. All right. So if you just joined, this is. What are you doing? Oh. You just joined.
Too tall.
I tilted it up and it was fine. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh." No, it's fine. This is good. Just sit down so it covers the black wall.
Weren't you going to set up your laptop so we could read this?
And well, now I can just use my phone, so we're using yours. Just stay there. The exposure is great. You would not be doing this. This is your channel.
My channel, they would just have a white mannequin.
It's true. I mean, I will never get between you and Sheila. They'll never say anything bad. The sound might be a little bit choppy. We're dealing with a lot of problems here. We almost didn't go live. But anyway, I'm Vanessa Joy. You're on my channel. This is Seth Miranda. You can find him last Witness pretty much anywhere, including here on YouTube. He has a lot of great... Oh, that was mine. A lot of great tutorials. This is Convos with Winos. But one, it's only 4:30 in the afternoon.
Like that stopped you ever.
2, he's no fun. And 3, he doesn't drink. So what I did, where'd you put it?
Seth's channel usually isn't overexposed. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
It's because you're in a white room and it's usually underexposed because of it. Can I have that bag?
Oh my God. What?
Thank you. Anyway, it's usually Convos with Winos, but since he doesn't drink, I got us treats instead.
Also, we got to get you a Mevo. Oh, I can't eat that right now.
Actually, I'm pretty full too. So, anyway.
Is that New Jersey? I turn to stone when I go to Jersey. So. Yeah.
All right. Well,
the
anyway,
problem
we
is
have
that
snacks.
it's constantly on auto exposure, right? So you can see it constantly shifting as it's evaluating the scene, which is kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm. But as long as we mostly fill the frame, we're good.
We have a 5-foot para lighting us right now. It's enormous.
It's
awesome. But it's awesome. And it's only at 14% power right now.
I almost recorded you. You can't leave me. Then the exposure changes. No.
See?
No.
See?
No.
See?
So your coronavirus. All right. So what we're going to talk about, I figured what we talk about today is we can talk about the coronavirus because it's just ridiculous at this point and what it's doing to the camera industry. Because I don't know how many people that aren't like us, that we just have like the back end knowledge of what the heck is going on, but what it's actually doing to the photography industry. And then I thought we'd talk about crappy YouTubers.
You just like get me pissed.
Yes, that's when you're most entertained.
This is why the next few months are gonna be difficult for me after we start wars with a bunch of people with gimmicks. So this will be great.
What gimmicks?
Yeah, here we go.
Who has a gimmick? You do?
Anybody that's on YouTube and not an actual, we're not doing this. We do enough of this on my Twitch channel.
Yeah, but the people here need to know.
No,
anyway.
I'm not here to fuel your channels.
The coronavirus. The coronavirus.
Oh, it's killing.
It's killing well, it's not the electronics industry, but for the photography industry, Canon had to, well, they didn't have to. They preemptively closed 5 different factories.
Well, when you have an epidemic around the areas, why would you put your company at risk for a year, or maybe having people die and have to figure out how to deal with that in a company, then preemptively just close down, hey, we can take a month and close, but they closed 5 locations.
I think they did 2 weeks though, not a month.
They say 2 weeks, they're speculating a month. So we don't know. Also, whatever people are hearing is like 16th hand. So we don't know what really is whatever. But the reality of it is we have such a dependency on that side of the world for production. Not just the producing of cameras, but the parts needed to produce everything.
Like Nikon, Sony, Panasonic,
everything.
Like everyone. And also like iPhones and electronics and all that kind of stuff too.
Which is funny you say that, because Sony's actually allocating a lot of resources to their smartphone division, the Xperion, which they're trying to bring into this ecosystem to use it with their cameras, all sorts of things. But the PlayStation's about to get a new update, and that is the biggest seller for Sony. You have to realize that the PlayStation 2, which is like decades old, is the #1 selling console of all time, and that reaches a way broader audience than cameras.
You know, it would really help our exposure if you took off your flannel shirt, because you've got white and maybe it'll balance it out.
It might, but you could look at that. She's just always trying to get too much.
We got that. Someone just said in the chat that in Sweden they're going to half days.
You don't have the chat anywhere?
I do. I'll open it up. But they're going to half days to help prevent
I
things.
wish this had
Exposure controls?
Yeah, well, I gotta get you a Mevo, or you could have borrowed my Mevo, which has exposure controls, which we've been using on my channel a lot. You can have exposure change when you do this.
Because there's
It's
all
reading the
this
black.
black.
But good thing she's got a big head to block all this black, and we can exposure. No, but so what you're going to see is an insane amount of delays. You can have all the announcements you want of things that are exciting, like the R5, or add a girl, or other cameras that are supposed to be changing the game. But in the end of it, nothing means anything unless it's sitting there in your hands, able to use it, right? So we don't know what's going to happen. We do know that there's shortages of cameras that have already been produced, like the 1DX Mark III, and other brands themselves who have been putting out cameras. Stock inventory is sitting wherever it sits now is probably where it's going to stay. So it's pretty insane.
It is. Ronald is asking, Seth, do you expect that a lot of photo events in Europe are getting canceled? I will say, at least for me, I've already had one cancel in Seattle. So
we're looking at NAB. A lot of vendors are pulling out.
Yes,
right?
I heard Nikon did.
There is a website called Is It Canceled?
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's something like that where it's showing you the events. The keynote speaker from South by Southwest has pulled out. E3, they look like they might cancel that because LA is under a state emergency now. I mean, it's just going on and on and on. And it makes sense. The freaking Olympics might get canceled.
That might get canceled. Has the Olympics ever been canceled before?
I don't know, but that's a big amount. I mean, you shut down a city for that.
Yeah, well, not even shut down, but that city put so much money into it, expecting all the tourists and the money back.
I think that's been spoiled with good exposure. In Vanessa's defense,
he stuck me in this black box.
In Vanessa's defense, my channel started with only the phone talks, and the exposure was horrendous. Not to mention, we're literally in a all black room.
Oh, yes, the Olympics were canceled in World War II.
Oh, wow, that was super recent.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that people are actually going to have to learn to shoot with what you've got. Oh, the horror!
Well, it's not just that. So, listen, I'm the first person to say don't buy into hype and invest in yourself to make better photos, right? But if the industry stands still, meaning that person that's been holding out, waiting to upgrade, or that person that's been using their phone but was waiting for the next Canon to come out to buy into our industry, is waiting.
Yeah.
And that is detrimental to not just the sales of the cameras, but the money going to R&D of what we could create going forward. Or think of it this way, cameras like the Z6, the A7 III, all these cameras out there that are doing monumental things for under $2,000 price point, we got there because of the sales of cameras and making the technology readily available, thus making it cheaper. We're going to run into an era now where that might be on a delay. But I also think, could it just be less than a year? Right? I mean, is that a big deal?
Or 6 months. Well, it's a big deal when, the whole world today can't can't wait for anything. So what I thought might be fun to talk about, just because I've had a hell of a week when it comes to YouTube comments.
Oh, you've been. I have to give Vanessa some props though. She's kept it together pretty well, and she sharpens the fangs and goes intelligently back in the replies. Although I think I sent you a novel text of what to reply to a few people. So.
And I just thought Seth should be answering my YouTube comments from now on. Seth made a shirt that says "Invest in yourself" or something.
Yeah, it says "Don't buy hype, invest in yourself." And as soon as I released it, a bunch of you bought it, so I appreciate the support.
Hey,
Thank you.
nice.
However, I will be closing my merch store in the next coming months. It's just not worth it. No one's buying anything. So can I curse on your channel?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. No one's buying shit.
This Convos with Winos, I allow cursing. Or else I bleep it out.
You should do Convos with Insomniacs because we both haven't slept at all.
That's true. Yeah, thanks to WPPI and
yes. And the plague I got from that.
That's right. You caught, hopefully not the coronavirus.
Hey.
All right. So I thought we would talk about YouTube comments and YouTubers in general. And
we're surrounded by garbage. Wait, that's not garbage.
Oh.
That's a one-stop diffuser. What are you doing? That has to stay clean.
Maybe if we hang that back
Shut
there,
up.
the exposure will
Shit, it might actually, but I have nothing to hang it on, lady.
I know.
We're sitting in a construction zone.
Literally, they were in Adorama, we're in the store. It is a construction zone right now. So anyway, age of YouTubers and tons of photography education online. And who's a real photographer? Who's not a real photographer? I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Well, first, I just want to say, I know I've come off talking a hard game, but in the end, you don't have to be a professional photographer to educate, but you still need to know what you're saying. And you also have a responsibility to, whatever the title of that content is, they should be able to leave with the knowledge of how to execute whatever you said there. And most of what I'm seeing out there is people giving baity titles to things that are, if it's 10 minutes, it's like 4 minutes of video, but 6 minutes of like, give me your email address, I'll give you this. Don't forget Skillshare this. And like by the end, you're kind of like, what did I just watch? And then you could not even execute what the hell we were talking
about. Well, what about, so it's clickbaity titles because the results are in the numbers. What about when at least the video fulfills the clickbaity title? It's like writing a good headline. Like that was okay.
Yeah, but the problem is like, so
ago.
Case in point, you started a YouTube channel, like you actually had it for a while, but now you're actually juiced into it, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's like, okay, you yourself are fighting all the static of all those other titles and people that are putting out content that's variously similar, like what's the best portrait lens or whatever.
I literally recorded that yesterday.
Now, let's say someone saw 4 other videos besides yours and now is tired of this topic and still doesn't have an answer. Mm-hmm. They're not going to get to yours.
Or they might get to mine because they went through all the crap.
It's gonna, but it takes forever because so many people are quick to just jump on without even having legit. Look what happened on the no offense, but look what happened when the R5 got announced. People were just like literally sitting there reading a spec sheet, like they were offering anything to the world.
Well, yeah, because that's the kind of stuff that drove numbers. And if you are trying to build the channel, you have to drive numbers so that you get sponsors like Skillshare, and then they can pay your bills so that you can pay the the makeup artist, the videographer, the editor for the next shoot that you're going to put on YouTube.
Well. Look, the thing is that there's a lot of people that are putting out a lot of content. They get a lot of views because they've had a mainstay audience. They get served up their videos faster because of their numbers, and it drowns out. Like my YouTube is half dead. I barely put any energy into it because I kill myself to shoot live on the spot, answer any question that comes through this chat, and I perform it live. Still 800 views. For what's that going to do? And I got to do that for 2 years every week till something hits.
That's because people don't have patience. Because like you said, you watch a video and there's an ad and there's download my PDF. But for you, it's content and watching the build and watching an actual shoot, and it's an hour long, and nobody has the time for an hour, even if it's good content. Because quite frankly, they don't know if it's good content because they don't know you yet.
Well, they also are getting misinformation, and you know this because when we go talk at trade shows, people ask you questions, wondering why you're doing something. It's like, no, you were taught wrong. Now we have to go backwards to go forwards, and the problem is misinformation from people that are just, the audio might be skipping, Brent, I'm sorry. The problem is that people get filled with misinformation of answers they want to hear instead of the truth of how to actually do something. So they think they just, which is basically what camera companies are telling you to buy these features because it'll fix your problem. Or here's the hacks that photographers don't want you to know. There's no secrets pros don't want you to know. You learn stuff, I'm still working. I don't care. I'm just saying, but it really gets under my skin when they start.
So you're saying that a broken reflector isn't a photography hack?
No, it's a freaking reflector. But to tell people that there's these like,
it's a stupid name though. That's just it's something kitschy, like ooh these.
No,
hacks.
but
life hacks.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that. So my real issue is the people that are pretending to be professionals, which is basically pretending to be the identity that I sweat and bled for decades. I mean, you are making a living where I'm not even getting a platform to build based on someone pretending to be the identity that I actually killed myself for. You never had to rest your rent, your livelihood on getting that next job, on performing that shoot well enough that you could get paid. Nobody talks about that though, but somehow if you have a stupid fucking haircut and talk a bunch of shit like a Consumer Reports.
Or as Ronald says, the guy with the fedora, the most popular YouTubes.
All right, everyone needs to stop talking my Discord right now.
Probably should put D&D on. Anyways, talking about the more experienced photographers either do not need the YouTube tutorials or they, watch stuff that maybe.
Yeah, but then you look at Annie Leibovitz, who's like a legendary, iconic photographer, and she does master classes. Like, we're in an age where this is necessary to do. And I think what happened was we had this era of people that didn't work the field but talked about it. Now there's people that work the field in that time that are able to talk about it. They can't get a runway because it's clogged by gimmicks.
There are a lot of gimmicks out there. I'm curious. So you said something before. You said, we go to trade shows and they ask us a question and they think they know it, but they were really taught wrong. I know that happened to me. Literally, I was taught wrong certain things. For example, I started going to a black and white darkroom recently, and I love black and white, learned on black and white, and I get there, and I'm developing my film, and I find there's 3 extra chemical steps that I never did. And I looked at the guy that was
RC, not fiber.
No, film. The film.
Oh,
not,
the film.
Yeah, developing the film.
Photo flow and all that stuff?
Yeah, photo flow. It was developer stop at fixer, done. There was no wash. There was no photo flow. I'm like, what the heck? I've never done this. And the guy who was teaching me looked at me and goes, you were taught wrong. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I was. So I'm curious what, who else was taught? What were you taught wrong? Were you taught anything wrong? Were you ever?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I think people have. Yeah, they're good. Well, first of all, you have to realize that most guys like me started off learning by ourselves. I learned off a larger I found in a junkyard. I thought I invented dodging and burning at like 13 years old. So there's that.
You really thought you?
Yeah. Well, I was a kid. I'm like, look, I can get half of the photo, but not the whole photo. Look now, So.
These are good.
Yeah, they are like fake Nutella. Mm-hmm. It's like hazelnut spread because you can't get Nutella.
Hey, Jared.
So, yeah, I was absolutely doing things wrong. What I was very beneficial, which I know isn't for everybody, but I assisted a ton of guys that took the time to sit me down and be like, here's why we do this. And they made me do everything the hardest ways possible so that if everything that was newer broke down, like when newer cameras and all these crazy features break down, you're able to get your job done.
You're still telling me that you never learned anything
Absolutely.
wrong that you thought was right.
Absolutely learned things wrong because I read them from half-assed books that were out of date or other things. Like when you're self-taught, the way you learn is by making mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem, not the problem, but the reason I think I was taught correctly most of the time was there was no YouTube where there was no vetting process. The vetting process for me to learn was an actual working photographer who was making a living teaching me. They vetted themselves by having a working career. It's these there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's not a lot of wisdom, and it's really easy to just put any video out there.
I love what you just said. There's a lot of information, but there's not a lot of wisdom.
No,
because wisdom is the application of knowledge, and that is what a lot of people miss. They can spew out information that they're regurgitating from another YouTube video, probably, but they don't know how to apply it in real life.
It's really easy to like read something off of a forum and regurgitate it and just be like, this is true. Look, I said it correctly, like everything else that's going on there. But the reality of it is that you just read it doesn't mean it's absolutely 100% true. A lot of people say miss stuff all the time in chat rooms while we're live, and you're like, that's not right, that's not true. But you can't stop and tell that to these people.
Thank you, Robbie.
Must behave for Vanessa. What?
He's twitching about someone in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was good. Robert Gordon said, I believe the problem, everyone has a voice on social media. There are no requirements for someone to put out content, so everyone thinks they're the expert. And that goes along the line with being taught wrong. Is I thought I knew a ton of crap until he told me how bad I was.
No. I think your perception was wrong. I don't think you were taught wrong. I think when you showed me images like, why doesn't mine look like this? I'm like, because that's not even light.
That
it's
was
all editing.
My favorite thing you've ever said is like, wait, you think that's real? That's not real, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Light doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's in my book now. I quote you. You know
I
that.
appreciate that. Yeah, but then there's also people like myself who will never write a book. I don't have it in me to write a book. So there have to be people out there that can write books, and those are the people that usually get across the goal line. But in YouTube land, all it takes is a click in someone's time, and then if they hear the answer they want to hear rather than the actual truth of something, that's what they take with them, and that's the problem.
And that's the thing. I recently had this massive fight with this. He wasn't even a jerk. I'm not going to say he was a jerk on my YouTube video from Monday. I was just doing like mirrorless versus DSLR blanket overview, things that I liked and didn't like and were important to me. But because I didn't like, but why didn't you talk about silent shutter? And I talked about battery life, but he didn't think that was important. And he kind of attacked me and told me my video was light because of the things that I didn't talk about that he thought I should.
Then
I'm
make
like,
your own fucking video.
I'm not here to check off your check boxes. Like, no offense. I'm just,
Yeah, it's amazing
not.
how
Like,
offended.
I'll try to, and someone just asked the perfectly way, Vanessa, how do you respond to YouTube creeper comments? I get a ton of creeper comments, and I was taught there's 3 ways to do it. Either you attack it head on, and if they're wrong and I'm in a mood that day, I will attack it head on. 2, you ignore them, which is what I probably should do, but I more likely do 1. Or 3, you make it funny. Or you just take
don't make it light. Don't
or you
make it
take
light.
it for what it was.
They always talk about my body. Always talking about my body.
Okay, so you look on my last YouTube video from Wednesday, and someone said you have nice legs. So I could have been like, how dare you? But so I was like, yeah, I work hard on them. Thanks.
Yeah, you do pretty work on.
I do really hard. I do.
The reality is, like, you can't let people get away with this shit anymore. They should feel shame for being a piece of shit about it. I mean, you're killing yourself to create content that's viable, and then all they're going to do is talk. First of all, you've seen comments about the models that we shot with, which are
I
absolutely
know.
horrendous.
I mean, and we allow, I say we because you allow the Seth approves or declines some of the Adorama TV comments, and then I obviously
and for
do
the
mine.
record, we let the bad comments through.
Yeah, and I let the bad comments through. The only ones that we don't let through are the ones that are just flat out derogatory.
Insane and racist.
Really, there were some really racist ones on some of mine.
It's
really bad.
I know, it's crazy.
What is wrong with you people?
My favorite are the ones that discredit me because I'm tattooed. They're just like, well, you've clearly made mistakes in your past, and it's like, what does my skin have to do with you?
I mean, you have.
Yeah, whatever.
And so have I, and so have you.
Look, if you question the person you're getting your content from, then there's endless content out there to go plug into, right? Eventually, you go into the answers you want to hear. Whether you apply them and they get you to a next level is another story.
What do you mean, people? I mean you.
You get what I'm saying, though? It's like, you can listen to anything you want, but if it isn't working for you, so we're seeing this at trade shows, right?
Yeah.
Every time I make a joke about people selling presets, I get a huge laugh at it, right?
Yes.
Because they're all like, yeah, what a bunch of presets, my photos still aren't good, or where I want them to be. And it's like, because
Or
that's
worse,
not an
they
answer.
use a different preset for every photo, and it's the most like inconsistent thing ever.
Because you can't teach taste, you have to kind of develop it. You can't teach style, they have to find their own point of view, but you can teach technically correct and technically wrong. And if they see why things gravitate successfully to one style of an image over another, that's when you start getting enlightened. But when the people sell you something, as in like, oh, you don't like the way your images look, here you go. After a year, people are still wondering why they're still exactly where they were a year before. Is because they took bad advice, wrong information, and quick fixes that didn't really fix anything. That's pretty good.
Reach. Yes. That last question's for you.
Seth, the serious question we don't want to answer. What's up with the keys and keyholes? Anything specific meaning? I don't really talk too much about my tattoos, so I'm going to stick to that. I do sometimes talk about it on my Twitch channel, but yes, I have keys everywhere, so it is what it is.
Because Seth is the key to life.
Oh, shut your mouth. Let's talk about that butterfly on you. How about that?
First of all, that one there.
You're not even Jewish.
Which is... No, I'm a little Ashkenazi. A little bit.
I'm Sephatic.
I'm Sephatic.
I'm Sephatic.
So
I'm a Greek Jew. I'm a really weird unicorn. I know I look Irish, but I'm not.
I think then Morgan says, I think many YouTubers take advantage of people's insecurities. Vanessa Joy, I think you're very skilled. I have great respect for that. Thank you so much. And of course they take advantage of our insecurities.
Look,
it's just, you know.
If you caught me years ago
Yeah.
and I saw Vanessa Joy and didn't know her, I'd probably talk a ton of shit. The reality is, she
Why
started
don't
a YouTube channel after years, decades of being a working, business-owning photographer. She supports a family and a household on her craft. That's as professional as it gets.
Thank you.
So, while she had some holes in her game that we cleared up. No, but honestly,
We did.
anything that listen, I've learned from Vanessa as much as I hope she's learned from me. I think we've been very beneficial and symbiotic in that regard. However, you can always fix technicalities. You can always fix and retrain the technical aspect of things. It's the clear vision and being deliberate. You have to be deliberate in how you shoot to be confident in what you're putting out there. If I don't know what I'm going to say next, how is my next photo going to be good? Every image is a language. Every decision you make in there is a word, a sentence. If it doesn't make any sense, If it doesn't make any sense, no one's going to get anything from it. Just like when you're talking to somebody. So learn to be deliberate. Learn to make the decisions that will get you to a successful end result that you're confident and proud of. Style is up to you. Whether other people adopt it is another story. But make the decision you really want to make in your images, you know?
You had me at photography as a language.
The thing is, Vanessa can't cry anyway.
No, I can't.
She's missing that whole thing. She had her ducts removed.
I did.
She's like, they're making me look old.
This lighting's making me look cold.
As soon as I turned on, like, oh, I have to take a selfie.
Yeah, from here.
Yeah. It's a huge light.
It's
It's
massive.
brand new. I mean, this is the
Massive.
first time this light's being ever turned on since China. So it's
It came from China. We
I don't know
haven't
if
touched
it
it.
came
We
from
washed
Actually,
our
I don't know if it came from
hands.
China. I think it came from Taiwan. So
Jersey girls are tough. By the way, there's 61 of you in the chat and 18 likes. Anyone mind just hitting that
oh,
little thumbs
God.
up?
Yeah, I'll pine for life. You'll never hear me say that while I'm live. I was like, oh, you like us. Oh,
Hope you get sick.
you're just like Josh.
Ronald said, damn, Seth is a Greek Jew. I thought Seth was an Irish leprechaun.
If I was a leprechaun, I wouldn't be 6'1", and I have some magic.
Oh, you got to find me Lucky Charms then.
You can comment how racist she's being right now against Irish people.
That's the Lucky
Uh-huh,
Charms
right.
guy.
Sure is.
You did not have a good childhood. All right, Ray says, this is...
From a homeschooled.
I didn't have a good childhood either.
I'd kill a childhood.
You did? My childhood was I'd wake up at like noon, or I would sleep
They
until...
just splash water on you and then
I'd
pull you.
No, I'd sleep until the mail came, because that was the only exciting thing that happened all day, and that was probably severely depressed as a
This
child.
answers a lot.
Ray says, this is exactly why I follow Vanessa. I watch and learn from her career for years and never seen her so active publicly. Yeah, it's more of a new thing. I've taught for the past decade, but really decided to put stuff online, and it is freaking hard. I don't know. So because I'm a working photographer and I have a business to run, this whole YouTube thing, and that's another thing I get berated for. Oh, do your research on X, Y, Z. It's like, no, my research is the fact that I'm in it. It's like, this is what I do. This is what I use.
But the
I don't
problem-
have time to be researching for video and doing all the stuff. Yesterday, I did 11 videos. I recorded 11 YouTube videos yesterday.
The problem is
do
that when they say
marathons.
research, they only mean that they're within discussions in forums online of topics that are happening. And when you actually talk about something after you've used it from your experience, you were busy actually working and not reading a bunch of forums and having that discussion. So it's like, that's the problem, is that people get, first of all, we have photographers and then we have people who are hobbyists and buying gear and talking about it. When people are out there talking about like, this light is just as good as this $1,000 light, it's like, okay, you shoot 3 times a month. I have to shoot 1,000 makeups a month.
That's insane. Do you want this?
No, I'm good.
I got
How many,
shot.
how many did I shoot this month?
You shot a lot this. You
I'm a
shot like
player.
3 different days, didn't you?
It's 6. So, so I
Thomas-
shot about 300 makeups this month.
Wow.
Last month.
Thomas said, honestly, I've learned more from Adorama and you guys in the last month than from anywhere else apart shooting. Well, actually, that's fantastic. And that's honestly, like, comments like that, I don't know about you, but that's just why I keep pushing past the jerks to get to people like you.
Well, I think that's the problem with the comments is that the good comments are like people go, oh, that was good, but won't write it down. And then you get slammed with this tidal wave of bad comments, right? So then when we go to trade shows, remember I said like, oh, that video was terrible, everyone made fun of me and whatever like that. And then every trade show, it's like, yo, that video was the best. I'm like, that one?
Really?
The one where everyone beat the hell out of me from it? They always want to hate a new product, first of all. Like they'll just find a way to be like, I don't need to buy that. Stop trying to sell me stuff. But then they'll get psyched on buying specs. They just love buying. This one has higher numbers than this one. It must be better. Like, or it's like a phallic contest. Like, look at my lens. That's a 1.4. I have a 1.2. It's fatter. It's like,
Fred said, "Where's me pot of gold?"
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, what's going on here? Also, did you already do a same-sex marriage, or is it still not a thing in the U.S.?
It is a huge thing, especially around us. New York definitely is. Where are you from, Ronald?
How do you manage the booking and shooting the whole shebang?
we can't say shebang. We have to pay Peter Hurley every time we say that. So
That happened. The exposure. No. 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 Okay. So I handle, as far as my wedding business goes, I have an office manager, and she's the one who handles pretty much everything. So I can just show up and shoot and be creative and don't have to worry about that. So that's how I handle it.
Robbie says, be like Joe.
Do you like Joe?
Listen, Joe McNally is a father figure to anyone in this industry, hands down. That guy is exactly what class is, exactly what a legacy is, and exactly what a real working photographer is.
Alex, thank you for all the help. Quick question. How does one stay motivated in photography? If I lose motivation for some time, does that mean it's not for me? Heck no. When he said he shot 1,000 makeup this month, that means he texted me 1,000 kill me's this month.
Yeah, so. Look, it's not that no one's expected to like everything they do all the time. And I don't care what you do, how much you like it.
You do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
It's bullshit because you're providing a service, and whoever holds that dollar they're going to hand to you is your boss. And we have 1,000 micro bosses any given time. On top of when we create content, we think about what are they going to say.
Yeah.
You know, we're always like
yeah.
placating a little bit. So you're never really working for yourself. And then what the hardest part I find is, what I think we always talk about, is when we're done with everybody else's and that day off, it's like, well, why don't you shoot something you like? It's like, well, I don't want to shoot anything right now.
I prefer to lay in my bed and not move at all.
Well, I think what you need to do is sometimes put the camera down and go experience life and feel something that makes you want to go do it again, or completely change your game. Like, if you're not a wide angle shooter, rent an 8mm lens and see what you can do with it. Put yourself in a corner you normally wouldn't shoot. Like, maybe I'll go shoot a wedding. No, never ever. I'm never doing that again. Not again. Never again.
I don't know. Maybe you hold my light at your sister's wedding.
I held your light for 2 hours at
Yes, you
imaging
did.
while you called me that guy.
Here we go.
But then again, she's been my model like 5 times so far. And if there's anything more,
And I am not good in front of the camera.
nah, she's great. She's got 1 million. Look at the bone structures. Look at the skull.
Yeah.
This is a world-class skull right here.
Not from this angle.
But I would honestly try to do whatever you're doing right now. Can go in the complete opposite. You've been shooting this with color. Go shoot in black and white and see what you can do. Like, change your game 100%. Go 180 the other direction and try to make it work that way. And it'll start fueling your head a little bit.
Gear question. Pro Photo B2 500 or 1,000?
Wait,
Wait,
what?
what? There's no
Wait a second.
studio.
Pro Photo B2s are a pack hit that are 250 watt seconds.
But the D2s are the plugins, and there's a 500 and a 1,000.
Right.
So that's for in studio. I personally have D1s in studio, and I have a 250, 500, and 1,000. They were hand-me-down.
So 500 watt seconds to 1,000 watt seconds is only a one-stop difference. That's all that means. And what you have to understand is that when they talk about, when they talk about watt seconds, they're talking about, you have to realize that the power of the light is only to keep you in range of staying on exposure. It's not going to give you like more powers. It's just going to give you more power. What that means is, let's say we're shooting us and we want to use a 5-foot octa. Well, we have to step that light way back. Now that light goes so far back that it almost looks like the size of a 2-foot box. Well, that's when I need 1,000 watt seconds, or maybe or we probably get away with 500 watt seconds. If you know what you're doing, you probably get away with most light anyway. But let's just, for our argument's sake, if we have to cover more area but still keep our aperture closed down more, that's when we need more power. When we need more coverage, need to fill larger modifiers. That's when you start looking at higher power. Or if you need a situation to control light, case in point, you're outside in the sun. Look what happened to me in Amsterdam. I had high noon sun. I'm using speed lights that were 75 watt seconds. Still got the job done, but what if I wanted to cancel all that light out? I didn't have enough power. The speed light was not going to overpower the sun. That's when you start figuring out what are you actually shooting and what your applications are.
I can't pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Tafadazwa, maybe? I'm looking to get into photography and want to enter through the Canon route. Mirrorless wise, should I get the R or wait for the EOS R5? Well, we only know as much as you know, but if you're okay with whatever camera system you have and you can wait for the newest release to come out, like I personally would. However, with the coronavirus, we just don't know when that will be.
Or if you're really not in a rush and the R5 comes out, a lot of R's are going to go on eBay and or used apartments pretty quick, and that price is going to go down. Oh, excuse me. So you're probably going to be able to get an R for a really easy entry point price if you want to go that route. Also, is there a reason you're choosing Canon? Do you have lenses already? If that's the case, what lenses? Because if there are if they're for a crop sensor and vice on other reasons, you have to check why you're going into that system overall. So just be aware that you're going to be waiting a while for the R5. We have absolutely not even a full spec sheet. So
nope. Robbie, you are making me laugh. He's not reading the chat like I am so much. Max said that photography is great, but sometimes clients are shitbags and you have 3 to 4 of them. That drags on me. Luckily, only happened once. Yeah, I had a couple doozies this past year that I would text and be like, I quit. Like,
oh, don't even
screw this.
and then I text you about every YouTuber I can stand. Like, why is this guy saying this stuff?
Yeah, it's true.
It's whatever.
Oh, we can call you Taffy. Okay, good, Taffy. Glad that was helpful.
Good point, guys. Thank you. You can try to go Taffy. Just get an 85 millimeter.
Okay, so there you
You
go.
were gifted an 85 RF. That's awesome.
That's a pretty generous gift. That being
Whoever
said,
that is gets a nice.
think of it
thank you
this way: if you don't want to spend a lot of money at all, you can always just get an RP really cheap and then hold out till you're ready to upgrade, because the R will go down in price when the R5 comes out, or a lot of people will trade them in.
That's true. It's it's always a game. It's for as long as my career. It's like, do I get the camera now, or do I wait for the next thing that's coming out, or do I, like I always say this. If yours case Taffy is a little bit different because you're just starting, but anytime you buy gear, I always think in my head, is this going to help my clients? Is this going to help my workflow? Yeah. And those are really the only two things.
Is it going to up your game somehow?
Up your game somehow. But in a way, so yes, maybe it'll enhance my photography, but will my clients notice, or is it just my ego boost?
Well, a lot of the times we get lost in like, oh, this camera's already like 3 years old. It's only like a 30 megapixel. Like, and I was a res fiend for mad long. When the 800 came out, I was like, yo, give me that. When the 810 came out, I jumped on that, bought 2 of those. Then the 850 came out, I did the beta test for it, and I was like, I'm walking out of here with this camera.
You are not getting this back.
That camera was, when I put the 850 on, it changed a lot in what I thought I was looking at in images. It was amazing. So,
did they let you keep that one? Because
No.
it's always
No.
it's always production, pre-production.
They're prototypes. They're not finished. The firmware's not done. But the serial number on the D50 I beta tested was 00009, and I was like, this is the 9th one off the line. I just wanted to have it just for that alone, but nope, I got 3,164 or something like that.
Wait a minute, guys.
What?
I'm way better looking than you. Look.
Look at that, but that's because he said that I'm so beautiful, and then somebody said, is this the guy from the Instagram stream earlier? And I didn't get to see that, by the way. What happened? I just saw later someone was saying not to be creepy. What happened in that Instagram chat? I'm very curious. So I went live on Adram's Instagram earlier to do an image critique, and apparently there were some shenanigans happening in the chat. And Robbie's dressed in Corinthian leather head to toe. Okay.
Robbie, I went live for you yesterday with a Nikon medical Nikkor 200 millimeter macro lens. So come on, man. I did a solid for you. And pull that thing out of stock from 1962.
I hope someone's typing because it's always a delay here, but I hope someone's typing what the heck happened in the chat, because you didn't watch it, and I don't know.
I was going to crash it, but then I needed to go eat before I had to set this thing up in this room, which has been...
All right, cool.
And I really appreciate you being so active, Robbie, believe me. And that's the other thing, is you guys have to realize we can only stay doing this stuff as much as you guys give back. So it's always a 50-50,
When I was discussing a photo with a couple, a guy went, "That could be us, but you're in a box on my phone."
That's funny. That's kind of funny, actually.
That's not that creepy.
They're going to play creepy stuff. I'm actually waiting for the foot fetish guys to talk about your latest thumbnail.
Ew.
Because you're like all arched and stuff, and they're going to be like, oh my God, she has feet too? Oh my God. Oh my God. Because foot fetish guys are like addicts. I mean, let's be honest.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, yes,
Well,
they are. They
I don't-
are. I got 2 foot weddings.
No. Lindsay Adler, who is.
Jeez, yeah.
No, so Lindsay Adler, she said that she was on the Canon stage and someone was taking like legit macro close-up shots of her feet. And that's like a thing. And I didn't really believe her until I was standing next to the Canon stage waiting to go on and somebody started taking pictures of my legs. Did I tell you this?
I believe it.
Yeah, so my friend had to come like walk around in between me
I mean,
and
you kind of show them
the
off.
person.
A little bit.
What?
Nothing.
I work hard
I know you do.
for my legs. I'm
know.
going to put a dress on and be happy about it.
Yeah, and then I'm dying as a disc popped out in my back. And I'm eating a cheeseburger before I go to sleep at 3 in the morning. Help me.
These are your life choices.
We got IVs because I walked into your room a zombie. They dragged me in like I was gonna die.
I'm pretty sure you would have if you didn't get that IV.
Nah, meanwhile, I got dead anyway.
Max says, one statement that I hear way too much and hurts my brain. I started with a Nikon D3100 and actually did press photos with that and
Wow.
kit. An
Okay.
extension for use, not necessity.
Yeah, that's a crop sensor beginner camera from Nikon, but it goes to show you.
I need to change my username to Foot Weddings. And Ronald wants to see your legs.
They're tattooed, so good luck at that.
Robbie said, God, no.
I got yelled at for wearing shorts once on a video.
Here,
Yeah,
an Adorama one. Very unprofessional.
it is what it is.
If you wore a skirt, it'd be fine.
I used to wear white shirts every day, and then they're like, "You don't really record well in white."
You at least got to take the keys to the market before you snap a photo.
Wow, wow, that is beyond creep right there. That's like, oh, Vanessa, someone spilled whipped cream all over your feet on this stage, and look, it's face height. Don't worry.
So like you have experience.
I'm
with
gonna
that.
DM you in case you want to shoot together. You know what I mean? Like that's what those guys do. And that's the other thing. It's like trying to get models for on the fly, and it's like they've been hit up with like every other creeper with a camera. I don't know. It is
Yep.
what it is.
Yeah. I used a new model yesterday. She's 18. She did really great.
18, hot dog.
Yeah. but the first thing I said to her is you need to start an Instagram account that's specifically for modeling, that
Yeah.
is separate from your personal life, so that nobody can mess with
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And that goes for a lot of people. I think you need to separate yourselves. Like when people ask me to look at their work and I'm going through like pictures of their lunch to get through like an actual image, like start realizing if you're going to be serious or not. Either all in or you're all out. I mean, if you really want to go for it.
Alex said, is there a Patreon? Been following for a while and the info you guys give is priceless. How can we ever repay you guys? I was actually just looking at Patreon the other day. I don't think I have the energy to do anything on there, but Seth has a merch store that is closing in a little bit probably, so you can thank him via that.
If you guys want to, my big thing right now is Twitch. If you guys want to jump on Twitch channel, twitch.tv/lastxwitness. And my favorite part of this is, A, it's free if you want it to be. You can throw support if you have Amazon Prime. It's a free subscription that way, but it does benefit the channel. And 3, there's an ever-going community in my Discord channel, which is hilarious to watch the conversations. And any problem you guys have
I feel like
with,
it's my only safe space.
but if you guys have any issues, you can go on there 24/7. Just write, hey, this setting isn't doing whatever on my camera. Can somebody help? And I guarantee you someone in there. We're up to 300 people.
Yeah.
So that's a small army.
It is. So X witness on anything. And for
Yeah.
me, you look at the description of any one of my YouTube videos and you'll find my store.
And if you want to give us any type of support, just hit like, share the videos around, and
That's
comment.
actually the best thing you can do. It's more valuable for you to like, comment, share.
Yeah, when you guys DM us questions after we do a demo, it's like answering you privately is eating up our own personal time with no real benefit other than just helping somebody out. Your best thing to do is write a comment publicly so it helps our algorithms. Write in the chat while we're live, or tweet at us, or anything like that. Just keep the conversation going publicly because that's what keeps us relevant and able to do this content for you.
Ronald has a very important question.
Oh, this is going to be good.
He wants to know when I get to photograph you.
Oh, there we go.
I've been asking to photograph him for.
She's been trying to get me into a tuxedo.
I did not say that. That is Daniel. I don't
No,
want to
that is
photograph
Daniel.
you in a tuxedo.
That is Daniel. So what would you shoot me as? Well, go ahead.
I need
Sell
to
me.
be creative.
Sell me.
I need to be
Sell
creative.
me.
I was gonna put you in golden hour light.
Golden hour. And let me guess, you're gonna carry a fern up from the body and then put a light right here. One of my favorite moments from imaging is when he yelled in the middle of your crowd. Like, so where's the sun? Where's the sun? Look in the sky.
I'm like, oh God, it's he's here. No. One day he'll let me.
If you put me in a
photograph him.
hipster outfit, then you're just making fun of me. So
I will
that's not
keep
cool.
you in jeans and a white t-shirt. I'm not trying to photograph someone who's not you. I'm trying to photograph you.
What about my pores? What about my abyssal pores?
I'm going to shoot pretty rough light on you, so you're going to have to deal with those. Thomas said, Vanessa, I asked Seth this question the other day, but I'd love to hear your take on it. Do you think postcards are still a viable marketing channel? Like mailed postcards?
Like promo cards.
Okay, bigger promo cards, maybe. I actually still do them, but the way that I do them is I take a venue, for example. I photograph there. I will send them a double-sided postcard that I make especially for them. It has photos of their venue on both sides. On one side, it has their contact information, their logo, and then on the other side, it has all of mine. So it's like I'm making brochures for them. It's like free marketing material for them. It just happens to have mine on it too.
It's almost like curating your portfolio when you have a meeting to sit down. Like I wouldn't show somebody who's asked me to do product shots, a bunch of zombie images that I shot. So, but my answer was, yeah. I mean, if people aren't familiar with you and your work and you want a fast representation of who you are and how you shoot, I showed them some cards that I still have in my bag once in a while, and boom, there it is, you know.
I love this, like someone who disliked the stream. Someone disliked my stream. I tell you, I have an album of photos of screenshots on my phone of nasty comments. So
A lot of people hate things for stupid reasons.
cheesecake photos of Seth. I threw up in my mouth a little. Pennywise costume.
Nah.
Vanessa did get Seth in a wedding dress. Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's true. I did wear a wedding dress.
I did. Seriously,
Yeah.
the Joker. I bet the thumbs down is just an Australian who forgot to flip their computer over. I see what you did there. Seth is a wine drinker. Thank you, Scott Whiskey. Nope, Seth does not
I don't drink any of that
drink
shit.
anything.
I'd rather spend my money on
Nada.
better shit.
Is the Godox AD600 Pro.
The most popular flash in the U.S. It is killing sales of Bronze Color Pro for Ellen Chrome in Canada. It's not killing any of those sales, and let me explain why. An $800 light is not killing the sale of a $3,000 light from another company, because nobody that would buy that light was looking at a $3,000 price point. If you look at any pro, high-end, I mean real commercial studio, it's all bronze color in that ceiling. If you look at 90% of fashion shot in America, it's all pro photo. Ellen Chrome is just coming back from the dead right now with this new line that's super exciting and affordable, by the way. I mean, they're like $1,500 for a 2-light kit from them right now, which is insane. So people that think that there's this or that is killing this or that isn't at all understanding what the market is.
In the same way that starting out budding photographers who are undercutting everyone are not killing the photography market, because there's a client for them, a client for you, and a client for me.
And there's a market base, okay? If you're just starting out, you're not looking at 2,000. There's for every one pro, there's 100 people that are just starting. Those 100 people are gonna buy that Flashpoint or that Godox, which is fine. If you bought a pro photo off the bat, you probably made a bad decision off the bat because you just bought something because it's expensive and you think it's good. If you don't know why something's good, you want to appreciate why it's good. And there's nothing wrong with Godox or Flashpoint. Shoot with whatever you got. Never not shoot. But don't ever think that there's either or and that's it. That's so narrow-minded, it's insane.
Bryn, I don't have a copy of that card with me, but they're 5x5 flat, double-sided. On each side, there's little collage of photos on the top, and my logo and contact information on one side, and on the other, same collage of photos and their logo and contact info.
$1,500 for 2 light is cheap. I want to go on your level where they're cheap. Well, if you bought 2 of a 600 Pro light from Flashpoint, you're at $1,600. So think of it that way. Even a third-party brand is still that kind of price. If you're looking at a 500 watt second light that's under a certain price point, there's somewhere in that light they saved money on the build quality somewhere, whether it's performance or even durability. And the last thing I want to do is take a light out of my case that will not work for me that day, because I can't tell an art director, hey, don't worry, I saved a bunch of money. It needs to work. My gear should be at a level where it's the last thing on my mind.
Max said that you are alcohol. You're addicting.
Seth is alcohol.
We got a lot of talk. What's that thing on the back of your phone?
Oh, the Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda. I just got this. What's the Twitch name Seth uses? It's Last Ex Witness. Daniel's here!
Oh, shit.
Yay!
What about Balcar? Yeah, Balcar.
Last Ex Witness, and he's there. That on everything.
Everything you can find me on, but Twitch is probably like my favorite thing right now. But definitely hit my Instagram up. That's my most active, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So.
All right.
Daniel's in the chat.
Daniel's
now.
here.
Balcar.
I actually like.
Actually, Dan, you just used the new Elechrome. What'd you think of it? I mean, I know you did the video and you said stuff, but you actually used them before I got a chance to use them, and I'm kind of jealous of that. I do have some more modifiers for you, though, buddy. I just picked them up.
I would rather see Seth as either the Joker or a half-face Venom. Half-face Venom.
I'm too much of a redhead for Venom, unfortunately.
We can dye your hair.
Do you see what she wants to? She's not trying to take a portrait of me. She's trying to change me. When she told me I want a portrait, what did I do? I shot you in black and white, as raw as it gets. Mm-hmm. And you were like, that's me. I've never really seen myself before. No, that was a good shot, but we'll do it again soon enough.
One of these days. Oh, Daniel's finally finding out that the Discord chat got stolen from him. Oh, the new Ellen
They auctioned it off.
They did for $2. Somebody wanted for $2.
Yeah, I think one of the things to take away from Elechrome, by the way, is super clean light. They have really beautiful light. It's not just the light working, but the light that's being emitted is really nice, and they've always been that way. When we were younger, Elechrome was like this echelon company. It really was. Like you aspired to get that brand. Then out of nowhere, it just kind of like ghosted. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
No. Thanks for joining my Discord, Trick Poker. Appreciate it. The Discord's cool, man. I really like it. And you can upload your images to my Discord, and when I go live, we talk about them, kind of like a, I don't know, critique, I guess.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Any last questions? Do have them come through. And if you were just here, it started out a little bit rough, but I thought it was pretty fun.
Elechrome is not part of Broncolor. Elechrome is part of Mac Group, so Saccadic light meters, now Nanlite, Mamiya, a lot of companies under this one umbrella, and they've been around forever. In fact, Pro Photo used to be part of Mac Group, believe it or not.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Before they split into Pro Photo, you say. What type of wine?
Did you just get $20?
I did. Thanks, Alex.
How did you get $20 on a chat? You can do that?
Super chat is enabled. Alex!
I want to do super chat. I'm going to do super chat. All right, I'm doing my channel.
No, but he's the one who said how I can support you. So $10 of that is yours.
No, I'm not taking $10.
Yes, no, Alex.
I'm not taking $10 of you.
Alex, tell
him.
him.
You have 2 kids.
Tell him.
They must eat and stuff. You need a new Louis Vuitton something. It's. Crush your head. Crush your head.
Oh my god. Super chat is DC, like Marvel. I do like Marvel.
Super chat. I like DC, man. I just, Venom's a Marvel character. What am I gonna do? I can't hate him on. I hate the new Venom though. I can't stand that.
Oh, that was something.
What a terrible.
Awful.
Movie.
But you know what? You got your heart broken with that, and my heart was broken with the new Dark Phoenix
For
movie.
the record, though, we both saw it coming like a freaking train wreck.
I know. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, you guys can hit up my YouTube channel. I do a lot more just live shoots than anything else. So if you guys want that, Last Ex Witness on here as well. I'd appreciate you guys writing some comments on those videos.
Rob agrees. They both were absolutely terrible.
Oh,
absolutely terrible. Oh, and thanks, Mr. Tech. And Bryn. No, Bryn.
Oh my God, Bryn. Bryn's a hustler, man. Bryn's a hustler. See, that's a woman that's really trying to make it happen for a career right now. So I got to give a lot of respect to Bryn.
Yes.
I actually gave her a shout out on Adorama Rewind.
Bryn was your Dark Phoenix shot.
I was kind of.
Well,
I did it live. I mean, I was just trying to make something happen. When you're live, you know what it's like. You're like trying to survive. You're like, what can I do that people think
oh
it's
God,
cool?
I just gave away all of my tricks and it's only been 20 minutes out of 2 hours.
your trick is like, okay, who wants to come up here and shoot for themselves? Let's just no,
I was
nobody.
teaching with continuous light.
You were like, nobody, and you're looking over and I'm like, hey, let's change this whole setup.
That was a really rough day. That was the end of my tour. I was coming off of whatever the
What
heck.
was your favorite demo ever?
Live?
Do you have a favorite live demo?
You're not going to like this. My favorite demos to do are hands-on demos at Shutterfest because the audience, the attendees there are
Being scammed.
amazing. Shut up. No, not in my class. The attendees.
Oh shit! Not in my class.
The attendees there are just, they want to soak up everything and they are so appreciative.
Very cool.
And they are wonderful.
But the problem is that half the roster is not going to give them proper information because they're just based on YouTube numbers and actual credibility.
And now we come back to the beginning of talking about people that are uncredible teaching things.
I'm actually
not gonna go
fond
into
of
that
one of my
much.
last demos I did for Adorama, which was
Which
like in
one?
August when I did the rainy car window in the event space.
That was good. And that is not easy to do.
That was hard, yeah. But we did it live.
I
so.
tried to do it with natural light yesterday because I've always just wanted to shoot. I've never even tried that. So I did picture frame, spray bottle, and that is really hard to do
You're not
correctly
gonna
with
do
the
it with natural light.
reflections. You can.
It's just you have
It's
little
a
control.
mess. It's exactly. And that's exactly what it was. So it was like, wow, this needs to be like this perfect scenario
Yeah.
for it to even work. But it was,
Well, that's why it's usually done as a night scene. So if you guys want to check out what I'm talking about, go to my Facebook and there's a live demo.
Ronald, you are not buying my room. I will fight you for that.
There's a live demo for character lighting, and I made it look like it was a rainy car window shoot out on a street, like red lights, all crazy stuff, and I was
Oh
really
my
happy
God.
with that demo.
Fumador and the Flavors has a great idea. Make a YouTube version of The Incredibles called The Uncredibles. That's hysterical. You could do that.
That's just a name thing, but that's not an aesthetic. It makes no sense.
Well, yeah, no. Have some vision.
Look, I'm not.
Vision,
Well,
oversight,
first of all, I just want to
Seth.
say I don't really believe talking trash and causing wars helps anybody.
That's
But I
true.
do think making people like you guys, the audience, aware that there's not everything out there is gospel, and you really need to kind of take from all sources and get like an average of what the real information is. And also get it from credible sources. You know, SLR Lounge has legit people. Adorama TV, legit people.
SLR is great.
Gerald Undone, an amazing source. I mean, the DP Review has really great insight on things. Like, really boil down where you're getting it from. Daniel Norton is kind of okay. Like, he's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, I
You
heard he
know.
likes to chop off arms behind subway poles or something.
I heard he
like
likes to chop
that.
off the top of heads. Like, he's always shooting like this. Like, what's up with that? Where's the rest of the head? You guys need to stop with that stupid fucking comment. If you don't realize what modern framing is, I don't know what to tell you anymore.
I
Like,
don't know
Jesus
either.
Christ.
But I was taught that I should have 17 inches above their heads.
I will say though, I got to give props to Dan Norton for the subway
Stop
video.
auctioning off my room, guys. I see you.
I gotta give props to Dan for the subway video. He stepped out of the white box for a change and did it in under 10 minutes with a moving reflector on the side. There was a couple things I would want to change on that, but I'll talk to you probably about that. 'Cause maybe we'll just, it's the water. Maybe we'll try to.
Someone's pee is getting flushed.
No,
by.
that is a water here, right there.
Oh. In the ghetto. It's 2 pound of strawberries. I see your strawberries and raise you whipped cream.
Hey Dan, I just want to know if you thought about it though. Did you think about taking a strobe and bouncing it off of the moving train so that itself was the light source to cause less motion blur on her face? Because I was thinking that. I don't know if that would have changed anything for you. I was in that situation, so I don't know if that was a possibility. So you let me know. I'm just curious, buddy. And I know a lot of people wondering about rear sync, but fuck that.
Modern framing, no eyes, no problem. So true. Okay. Robbie started drinking. See, we didn't need to have
That's
wine.
a good idea, but shooting flash at a train is dangerous. No,
Why?
I didn't say it was safe. But also, you're not shooting it at the conductor itself. You know, you're not shooting at the first car.
That's not fair. I want to leave and defend my room. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Any last thoughts about the state of the industry? Will we ever get new cameras again, or iPhones, or real instructors, or?
Should have let the trash can. Jesus.
Why wasn't there a flash in the trash can
Look,
shining out at
Personally, I
Marissa?
think Dan did a great job of using environment, minimal gear, acting fast, making an interesting shot while also having it look semi-natural to the lighting while cleaning it up. I think Dan did an incredible job on that subway shoot. I give my boy mad props on that. I hope he does more stuff like this in the future.
Wonderful.
And that's
We're
the
gonna end
only
it.
compliment you're ever gonna get, you friggin' mook.
No, that was nicer than the only
I can feel
compliment
Dave's
ever got
swelling
from
head.
him,
I can see,
so.
I feel Dan's swelling head. Like right, it's like right here. Oh, please! I've given you compliments crazy publicly. You've recorded them.
have.
Like, don't even start
Yes, I
that.
have. I was like, oh, Twitch lets me clip.
I've given you a lot of in room, in front of people compliments. Don't even
true.
start acting like I'm a come on. You can admit anytime you want how I cleaned up your light game a little bit. Just saying.
You did, yes. Seth drastically cleaned up my lit game. It's in my book, okay? Black and white, in paper, lots of
Look, I'm
copies.
never gonna write a book, so I have to ride this one. So it's like, what did Dan say?
What would it take to get woman props?
Wait, what?
I don't know what that means. Anyway, I think we're good. All right. It's rush hour,
What
so
would it take
I'm
to
gonna
get-
go kill time and like eat dinner to avoid it, and then you're
So-
gonna go do this event.
If you guys are new to me, you can check me out at Last X Witness. I would be happy to have you. If you like special effects, sci-fi, or just weird, creepy, grimy, and kind of stylized lighting, come hang out in my world. I'm pretty sure half of you already know who the fuck I am, though. So it's like whatever. If you've just stumbled up on this, youtube.com/lastxwitness. I do a lot of live demos. Instagram is my most used, but Twitch is where we all hang out. She's always popping in there to come hang out, and the Discord is probably like the best part of it all. So
It is the best part. It's fun.
So
Lots
thanks.
of fun. And if you don't know who I am, please like, subscribe, hit a thumbs up, do a comment, share, all that fun stuff. I'm really close to 10,000 subscribers. I'm really trying to push that this week. So
that was fast, by the way. That was really fast. So
I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
you just know, you just go, that's a formula. I can do that.
I'm good at formulas. That
So,
I will say that.
I'm lazy as fuck, and I'm very disorganized, so I never get things off the ground. But thanks for having me on your channel. I appreciate it. And maybe we'll. Oh, there's a Q&A of you and me on my
yours.
channel.
Yeah,
So,
so you guys can go check out. That was a good Q&A, actually.
and that was
if I
the
recall.
same day we shot that black
Black
and
and
white
white
photo. Of
photo.
you.
But before, and we're like, we gotta get a photo done because we tried and it didn't work out.
Well, you had an
First,
idea that wasn't
it was
going to
just
gel.
not gonna work because I didn't know my lighting then. So
Well, I don't think you
I think I had something in my head that was
just weren't
not,
communicating, and I wasn't absorbing it, and then we just
Yeah.
scrapped it all. And
You
then
know what we actually needed to do that I think would have solved all of it is put a negative fill on the one side, and then I would have had more of what I was thinking.
you kept on saying the same words over and over again instead of like articulating further. So I'm like, I didn't know where you were going, and I think we were
Yeah.
both shot. And but then we found, but that's kind of how you get the best images. Is you kind of like go, get that shit out of my head. What's in front of me right now? And you came out all Sarah Connor. You were like, I'm gonna have just my jacket on.
And Jack's right here. It's over here. I'm sorry, Kyle. There's no wine because it's not even at the end of the workday here, and Seth doesn't drink wine, so we're doing combos with Winos with snacks. I do want snacks. You
I've
still don't
ate
want
way
snacks.
too many of
I know.
these. This is killing me. My stomach's
Alright.
killing me right now. This fake Nutella M&M because they didn't want to pay for the licensing of Nutella. So, but no, it's but I really think that if we actually, also I think it was really important that we cut out all this stuff and we just shot together. Number one, it wasn't a live stream. Not everything has to be shared. Sometimes you're just creating images together,
Yeah.
and you needed an image. It was an honor to have another photographer look at you as the person to create the image for them that they were going to use somewhere else, and it worked out pretty well. But I think you just had this idea of drama in your mind, but
Which is
we
hard
weren't
to do
seeing
on
the same thing.
yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree.
maybe we'll give it another shot. Who knows?
Yeah.
We do have a studio and a bunch of lights at our disposal.
Yes,
so
I do.
Who knows?
All right.
I will get you in a special effects makeup one day.
I love that. Literally, not a demon, but like something weird. Anything but a demon.
Okay. Not a demon, but something weird.
No, like aliens, okay, not a demon, just not a demon.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to make you. Every time I see you, all I see is your skull.
An angel. My skull. So make me a skeleton.
You never like look at people's like for bone structure. All I do is on the subway, I'm
yeah.
like, someone's gonna punch me in the face one day. It's staring at them like, yeah, that would be. I would do this. Yeah. But
Or like, I'm sorry, I'm staring at you. I just want to photograph you. I mean, like you. I mean,
Joe does that. If you hang out with Joe, you'll see him like looking off at somebody for a while. You're like, what are you doing?
right.
anyway. I
We're
think
gonna go.
Yeah, it's been
All
an
right.
hour. or
Love you
so.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Let's leave it overexposed. There we
Yeah,
go.
great.